that's the intro.
All right. How we doing tonight, guys?
Hey guys, how's it going? Emotion coming back to you here tonight here at BELLWORKS once again, like we did last week, right?
Oh, of course, we're joking.
It's already been a week. Wow.
Yeah, only a week.
Time flies, I tell you. But yeah, we're doing good today. Are we feeling good?
Yeah, feeling good. It's Halloween week. It's actually the week of Halloween, honestly. So the way that I see it is like, hey, you guys gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, and the colors are really coming in. Like especially the way the weather's been, it's like the colors really. Like,
fall's really happening. It's really fall. That's the way I see it. Who we here tonight?
Oh, hey, hello there.
Oh, hello.
So
how we doing today?
We have a gentleman here of Long Branch named Dave McGrath. And so what we're looking right there. So Dave, he lives here locally here in Long Branch, not too far away from BELLWORKS, and we actually know Dave for the past 10-ish years.
Oh yeah, a good amount of years.
Really?
At least from
right.
I know you. I think you met him a little bit later.
Like 2014,
15.
I remember I did with this ring.
We did that play.
That was the first one. I know. Around that year.
Yeah.
So it's been
In
quite
15,
a while.
Yeah. And you did one previous to that.
We did the whole hostages for the holidays.
Yeah, not hostages for the holidays.
That is not the name. So
yeah,
that's a whole name. That's a whole other conversation. But
in-laws, outlaws, and other people who should be shot.
Which was a community theater play comedy that we did back in 2014.
Right.
And since then I've been pretty much.
Was that?
Yeah, it was 2014.
Okay.
About 10 years.
I believe.
I've been really hooked into community theater since then.
Yeah.
And Aaron, we've definitely we've dabbled together. In
well, yeah, we've had our little thing back in Brookdale, and we started Honda Theater, and then from there it's like, okay, I didn't realize how to play in my hometown, Atlantic Highlands, and then that's when I first had Playhouse.
Yeah.
And then you drag along, and then Dave was like, "Hey, you want to do?" I don't even remember how. You know what's funny? I don't even remember how I met Dave, but you know what? I remember
You
just
actually-
talking around town.
Actually, I remember.
Oh, okay.
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
Let's hear it.
You wandered into the theater one day.
Oh.
You did. You actually wandered into the theater.
That sounds like me.
Yeah, and we were still casting at that point, and we were doing Joe Simonelli's With This Ring.
Yes.
Okay.
And there was still a part that was open, and you came in, and somebody told me that you did act.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, let's bring this guy in. You know what I mean? And that's how it came up.
Yeah.
And the part you played was the criminal.
He played.
In fact, you were in that scene.
Yeah, you're right.
You were in
I
that
actually
scene.
Oh
shot
yeah,
him.
yeah. He like long story short, he played the guy that kills me in the play. So,
That's right.
Spoiler alert. But
Yeah.
that was a while ago.
I'm
that
not
was
sure that's not fair.
that was a pretty terrific experience. Honestly, it was personally my first lead in any show. So I
What, to get shot?
thank you for that, Dave. Well, that too. But
But then you went on to have a great lead in Picasso.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
the one of the leads. Yeah,
Yeah.
Picasso and Einstein. I played
Yeah,
young Albert
Revolution
Einstein in the
happens,
show.
yeah.
Yeah, and it was again that was another great.
And he
experience.
looked like him. That was the craziest part about it.
Yeah.
He actually looked like Einstein at 25.
I had to grow out the hair and mustache,
Yeah.
and it was a little easier than I thought it would be with that. But yeah, so we were able to make some really good connections, working through with Dave, the work that he does through community theater, and like when you're ever doing stuff, when you try to do projects and stuff, you want to make connections and to meet you meet people, and you never know what will come of that and what might what's I'm trying to think of the word.
You might
surmise.
know what kind of gifts you might have and what you might have to offer
You never know.
somebody else,
It could
because
be-
honestly, we're all talented with different gifts, and
Yeah.
some of us can sing a little bit higher notes, and some of us can,
Yes.
be a little more comical, funny through our speaking.
When you come together like that, you become like a big orchestra.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
Mm.
you're playing different parts that individually add to the total, presentation, and that's what it really boils
It's like
down to.
it's like the big picture.
Yeah, there are some leads, some middles, some smaller. That's why a lot of times they even refer to them as lead, feature, supportive, these sort of things. None of these things can do well on their own.
Mhm.
They all
That's
have
true.
to kind of come together
Yeah.
and form that fabric, that every stitch is important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like no, there like they say in theater, there's no small parts.
No.
or there's just small people. I think that's what they say.
We don't like to
theaters.
bring that up because
course.
the whole midget society will come.
Oh,
Yeah,
of course.
we know how that works.
Of course, but yeah, so it's all about the whole picture and how everyone contributes to it.
It is.
And so we made our connections with Dave through theater, and I've I know you've done like a lot of other things, past theater. You bounced off of that, and me, like I've stuck around with theater, and I've met a lot of great people, and I've gotten a lot of like experience, working the stage, and
so
so I thank Dave for sort of like helping me blossom.
Helping you bloom.
Bloom, yes.
Gain the
He
confidence.
was just a little seed when I found him.
I was.
Just a little seed.
Are we all? Are we all? But
Hey.
so just tell us about a little bit about yourself, Dave. Like, what do you do? Like, especially with community theater and
What do I do with community theater? Well, I'm going to give you the whole outline, all right?
Yeah.
Mostly in community theater, what I do is, of course, I direct.
Mhm.
I also, I really do enjoy, putting the sets together.
Mhm.
As some of our actors say that I get a little anal with color balance, things
Yes.
like that.
The
But,
filmmaker would do that too. So.
Yeah. Well, we just got into filmmaking, so
Yes.
that's a whole.
Yes,
other
you did.
thing.
Like how you started. Like, what was your first like sidebar here? Like, what was your first foray into
film?
Yeah.
Well, to be honest with you, I have to thank COVID for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because all the theaters were closed.
Yeah.
And this is a great story. And I'm sure people who have talked to me before know this story, but I'm going to tell you it anyway. So the theaters were closed.
Yes.
And everything was closed. As you know, the whole world was closed.
Yeah.
And I was walking around through West Long Branch, and I was passing Franklin Lake. Okay.
Yeah.
And as I was walking along, I happened to see this couple walking around the lake, deep in their cell phones, deep, And I just say, that's amazing to me how people could walk and not watch where they're going. And a guy was coming in the other direction, same thing, deep in his cell phone. And I slowed down because I was watching. I figured they were just going to smash right into each other, right? And as they were walking by, like magnets, without looking up, they just made perfect circles around one another and just kept walking.
Where the magnets pushing again.
And I just thought that was the most amazing thing. I mean, they were stressing that whole 6 feet distance at the time, social distancing and all that. And it just happened automatically. And I thought, wow, that's incredible. So as I was walking along some more, I saw a guy who's fishing in the lake. And what looked like 6 feet from him was, I'm assuming, his son, because he was with a tackle box.
Yeah.
And I said, no, look at that. So what looked like 6 feet from him was a little girl playing with her dolls. And I said, oh, this must be the daughter. And I said, is this what a father and Bud and Sis a day out is going to be like? The parks had just reopened, because the parks were closed too, if you remember. And it was a beautiful Saturday. And as I was walking along, I'm thinking to myself, that's the weirdest thing. Is that how the world is going to be? Are we going to have to be like that? And this is just prior to supermarkets putting down those things on the floor that tell us how to stay away from one another,
like distance,
and putting up plexiglass and all this other jazz, right? And that was one of the first things that went through my head. It's like, what happens when we go to supermarkets? How do we maintain that distance from one another? And I just started kind of laughing about it a little bit. And then as I was walking, it suddenly hit me. I went, what happens if you get mugged? How do you get mugged 6 feet away from one another? And I just thought that was the funniest thing. So I called up a friend of mine who actually went to film school in, what's the name of that college? I can't think. Seton Hall. Seton Hall, right. Yeah. He went to Seton Hall, graduated with a filming degree. And I called him up and I said, let's get together and do this. You know what I mean?
I think you're talking about Christian, right?
Yeah, Christian.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Christian
He
Castillo.
did the Picasso show with us.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You do know. I forgot about that.
It's been a while, but yeah.
Yeah. He's terrific. He's a terrific actor, terrific filmer, that sort of thing. Anyway, so we had to come down. The mall, Monmouth Mall, was closed at the time. So that's where we had our initial production meeting, 6 feet away from everybody, sitting on the back of our cars, talking about this sort of thing. And we came up with this whole idea of a guy coming and getting mugged in a back alley, and the mugger staying 6 feet away from him, and he had to throw his wallet at him, and he's wiping it with disinfectant wipes and everything.
Little comedy.
So I want to give a small commitment to those people who are working, people who are like trying to make certain things happen, especially during those times of COVID. I got to give like a recommendation to people still trying to make things happen even when times are tough. And that's what really brought this out of the ground.
Yeah. Well, you have to.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean?
No, I agree.
You really
100%.
do. Whatever comes along, you're just going to have to work with it. You're just going to have to deal with it. There's no point whining and feeling sorry for yourself and
just go
worrying about the world. You just try to manipulate it. And that's what I mean about how I have to be, not that I am grateful, not that I want anything to come back or anything like that. I'm more grateful that it's over and that, we're moving on with our lives.
Well, you're glad we had the experience.
I suppose.
I mean,
in hindsight, sure. During it, no.
It shows what kind of backup systems you have when things get rough.
Well, you made something.
You have options.
Well, you know what else is nice too is, and a lot of people seem to these days forget it, but I actually am an artist. I do draw, I do paint, I do have my own studio. So in the beginning of all of that, when the theaters were closed, that actually gave me the opportunity to get into my studio and to do a lot of painting and to do a lot of drawing, which is something that a lot of times I don't have time for. In my day job, we never closed, because of the nature of what I do. I work with autism, and
that's awesome.
that doesn't close, that doesn't end. Come COVID, come epidemics, come war, come whatever. These gentlemen still have to be taken care of. So that never ended.
No.
So when you're working full time and you're doing things in the theater and whatever, sometimes it's difficult to find the time to get into your studio. And the lockdown gave me that chance. And like I said, and then you're walking along and then you see people not bumping into each other during COVID, and you take advantage of it.
And you find some humor in it too.
Oh yeah. Oh, you have to. You have to.
And that's how we cope with
stuff. Sure. People would be throwing themselves in that lake, not fishing it, but they'd have some sort of.
But yeah. So you were inspired. You found some humor in it, and that's great. You made some art. You made something that you want to put out there to share with the world.
Right.
You ever hear that term that says you're trying to find happiness? Well, you can find as much as things as you want, but if you don't create it, then you only can find so much limited amount. So but when you create it, you're able to create more and more because you are the one who created and made it happen.
Right.
Finding and creating are two different things.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, bouncing right off of that, though, I'm now I want to know, Dave. So all the stuff you do, you're a community theater director. You've just started doing film directing, and also you're an artist. You have your little studio where you create stuff, and also, well, of course, as a day job, you work with people with autism, and that's what you've been doing all that stuff for a while. That's like your whole life there. So I just want to know, what exactly inspires you with the stuff that you do for the day-to-day basis, both your art and your day job, what you do to help the community and stuff. What drives you? What's
well, just to create, to do all these things. What inspires me to do that? I to be honest with you, I really don't know an answer to that. What inspires anybody? Exactly. I mean, it's kind of just a part of your being, I suppose. I mean, I've always drawn. When I was a little boy, I was always drawing all the time, and that it's just something that I like, I really dig. When I was a kid in school, you do whatever you do to not have to actually do what you're supposed to be doing. So you draw on your desk, you draw on the walls, you drew all over the place. And as far as theater things go, the schools that I went to, even when I was a little boy, they would have their spring theater festivals. The teachers, and I went to a Catholic school for a little while, and the nuns there, they really wanted us to be part of the spring theater festivals, because it helped. They were very big at that time. They were very big into memory is a muscle, just like anything else. You know, if you want to be a runner, you're going to have to practice. You're going to have to run and walk and, you know, do all these wonderful things. But if you're going to remember, you know, prayers and things like that, you're going to have that memory muscle going on, right?
Absolutely.
So, you know, they would do this sort of thing. Didn't really work out, and I'll tell you exactly why. Because just this weekend, just this past weekend, I actually acted in a play.
Oh,
yeah.
This is a big development.
Yeah,
So
this is the big announcement because nobody actually even
so
knows
tell
this.
us a little bit more about it.
I was.
Because you usually direct. You, like,
I do.
Hey.
Well, I did act a long time ago.
Yeah. I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, and I just haven't done it in a very long time. And I actually was in the ICS, which stands for the Indian Cultural Society, their 10th anniversary, their production of Tartuffe. Yeah, wait till you hear this one. It's a Hindi version of a French play, Hindi, all Indian, of a French play written by Molière back in like the 1600s. And I played the bailiff. And I must have looked like the Irish-Italian potato parmesan up there with all these wonderful Indian actors. And they were really wonderful and they were terrific. But anyway, as I was getting to the memory thing, there I was on stage, and you guys who act a lot more than I do, of course, must have experienced this at one time or another. You're right in the middle of your routine, and all of a sudden you can't think of a thing to say. It just, your mind goes blank. Right? And it feels like it's going on for an hour.
Because I never got that ring. You know?
No, you never had that?
No, because I never got the ring.
We're going to put you in Hamlet then. We're going to put you in Hamlet.
That was my moment.
We're going to put you in some big, long thing.
We did some of the short plays. So here's the thing. So I did a thing we back in Rawway.
Rawway.
I had to stand still for the whole play, and all I could do was put my head up. It was probably the biggest. Like, I had the shortest lines, but I had the biggest challenge. I had to sit still. I can never sit still in a chair. You ever see me sit? If you see me outside, you see me around my head.
Were you sitting or standing?
I was standing. It was really tough.
He was a AI.
And like, I literally had to sit there and do this. And every time I say a line, I'd be like, and I say it, and I sit there for another like 5 minutes. But like, you ever see me sit still? If you see me around my
But you know, again, that goes back to what we were talking about before. It's just a thread. You had to do it. You know what I mean? It was essential for that whole piece. You know what I mean? If you hadn't done that, the whole thing would have just fallen apart.
Exactly. So
every small bit counts, especially like, you know, like plays and stuff and films and all that. So you got to act in that play, I did. You know, you got past that. I know I've had my personal experiences in theater. I can't say like I've had. It's like, thankfully, no, like in the moments I had where my mind does start almost goes blank. But what happens for me is that sometimes like I'll be like thinking my line, the next line, maybe next 2 lines ahead. But I'm thinking, wait, I forgot what that line is. But I'm not there yet because I'm still doing these other lines first. But as I'm saying those lines, I'm like, wait, what's that line? The next 2 lines over, and like I do blank for a second, but then it comes back to me.
Well, you know, again, like you always want to remember, you have to listen. You know, you have to listen to the other person.
If you don't know the lines, like per se, sometimes improvisation is also a good key to keep the thing moving along.
To get you back on track.
Exactly. You know, you always hear the show must go on, so you got to do it however it works.
Keep it in motion.
Like, no, that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true.
So basically, you know, since we have you here, we were talking about like the stuff that you do. Is there anything that you wanted to promote to the audience, like about what's up and coming? What's
up and coming? Well, let's see.
What do you want them to know? What's coming?
Well, we were all lined up for the Tri-State Theater Festival, which, you know, takes place with South Street Players in Spring Lake, right? Unfortunately, that it's a good news, bad news kind of thing, because it was coming up very quickly, and like I said, we had just finished doing Tartuffe with the ICS, and you know, we got it cast, we were all ready to go, and it was going to go up in the first weekend of November. So we really didn't have a lot of time to put it together, but that does happen.
Yeah, of course.
Especially with me for some reason or another, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, hey, can you put something together in an hour? You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, well, you guys know, you've been there with me, right?
Absolutely.
You guys know, you've been there. Where we've done like five productions together, right? We had that one week that every day there was another group of people doing table reads at my house, right? Because we had those five things going on at the same time. But anyway, we were all set, ready to go. We were cast. And then I got a call from Rob Sullivan saying that they were having a lot of problems, insurmountable problems. So it's going to be postponed until March.
Okay.
Which I went, good.
Yeah.
Right? So,
all right.
Yeah, because we were working on props and all kinds of things for it.
Yeah.
All right, so that's gotten moved to March. The next scheduled thing that's coming up is I think we're going to do a reading up in Westfield in the beginning of February.
Yeah. What's the reading called?
We're not sure. We're still talking about it right now.
All right.
We're still talking about it. We have been doing readings over at the American Hotel on Main Street in Freehold with center players, right? And we're scheduled to do something in the beginning of March up there. Then the next thing I think that is coming up, and we were just talking about before, we may be doing a comedy at First Avenue, First Avenue Playhouse, in June. And then right now, I think those are the things that are sort of balancing around. We're waiting to, actually confirm all of that. But that's what's kind of happening. And then you never know. You never know. Also, I've been working, trying to get things together for an art show. We're going to have another art opening sometime in the spring.
Okay.
And
seems to be a perfect time.
What's that?
Seems to be a perfect time to open up. Usually most people open up during that time of the year.
But that's a question too of getting everything done, getting everything framed, getting everything wired, making sure you have the venue to do it, and then opening it up, and making sure people are seeing it for the first time at the gallery or wherever it is.
Of course.
Could be a library, it could be anything. Coffee shops and what.
Always busy, Dave. Always busy.
And then some more films.
More films.
More
Absolutely.
Films.
Now, is there?
We have like 3 or 4 ready to go.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So, do you have a particular platform that you would like maybe want people to check out or reach you at to see like what's going on? What's the next thing for the project?
I don't have a website.
Yeah.
We have a guy.
You got a guy?
We have a guy who can help you make
Maybe
one. We're
if you
actually
want
going to
to
talk
make one,
ourselves.
I may have a website.
We have a guy. We have made a conversation.
In pending.
All right.
Don't worry.
But like, I guess like maybe Facebook or whatnot.
Well, Facebook, you can always get me on Facebook.
They're like Dave.
I'm good with that. I'm good with Facebook, thanks to my buddy Con.
Nice.
Twitter, no. Instagram, no. Still can't even figure that one out. But
All right.
What's that other thing? LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
I don't even know how that works.
Oh,
I don't even
no, I feel
understand.
it's more for like
It's like a
general managing
Facebook business.
professional.
Yeah,
If you want to manage something.
So that's a crazy one. Or you could just, when you see me on the
Don't say
street,
Twitter.
Just stop.
No,
No, Twitter.
No, it's an X now. Right?
No, people just complain on that one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Really.
I just go there for entertainment.
Just retweet somebody else's stuff. Like, I don't get it, man. Like, have your own words. Stop retweeting somebody else's words.
Exactly. I don't buy that one at all.
But yeah, so they're able to find you on Facebook, and so it's like
Find me on
Dave,
Facebook.
just Dave
Dave
McGrath.
McGrath.
How do you spell that last name, by the way?
MC, capital G, RATH.
I spelled it right when I
Yeah,
read the
there
thing.
you
I
go.
spelled it right.
It was great having you here today, Dave.
knew it.
Do you have any questions for Dave?
So I mean, as far as questions go, I mean, like, he kind of banged it all out. I mean, the way I see it, it's like, you said exactly what you performed. Like, you didn't say like what got you to it, but you knew that was your passion. Like the minute you started, you said this is where you're going, and he made it evolve.
Yeah.
And I like that about it. So now, as far as a question, okay, this is the question. Where do you see yourself going forward with involving with community theater? Do you hope to do you see yourself involving maybe opening like?
Or with your
side-
I have to say, well, I'm going to tell you something about theater,
Oh,
and directing it and what happens with me. I've always loved theater. I always did.
Yeah.
When I get into theater, the more and more I get into it, it's funny when actors come up and they say, have you ever done this play? Do you know this one? Do you know this writer? This sort of thing. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of them I don't.
Yeah.
I really don't. But they have introduced me to it to the point where I go, and I've read so much more about Sam Shepard's plays because we've done some of his plays, and Eugene O'Neill and things like that. So I go along with whatever interests me and how we go into that direction. And I get to work with so many wonderful, and not just the actors, as wonderful as they all are, but like Nick Rosell, who is another wonderful artist, by the way. He does the music, the soundtracks for our films, and all these kind of things. And people, they contribute. So, the direction that I have in it is I guess where I see myself going with it is just to go with it and see where it leads and just enjoy the trip and have fun with it and be as creative with it as you can.
And of course, one of the most fun things about it is making those connections, and it's important too.
I have to tell you, can I tell you one more story?
Sure.
Connections.
Go for it.
Because these guys have been in shows with me, right? We call them rogues.
Yes.
We say that we say that they're members of the wayward band of theater rogues, right?
Secret Society.
Yes. Not that secret.
Well, not anymore.
Yeah. In fact, he's a bronze member, and you become a bronze member when you've done 12 projects with him, right?
Yes.
You've done two or three.
I would say 3. I did some lighting with Adam's Eve. I remember that.
Yeah.
But it was still involvement.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So Samantha Ambler, right, who is put together Magnolia Productions, just told me this story. She just did Night Watch.
Over at the New Jersey Repertoire in Longbridge.
Well, that was Proof. Night Watch was done over at Navesink Library.
Okay, Navesink.
Right? Which is a wonderful theater. If you get a chance to go see that, anything over there. But anyway, she was telling me this story that she had taken her mother and her son to go see a play. I think it was The Lion King in New York. And she went over to get, coffee or soda or something like that. So she went over to the concession stand, and she was looking at the guy working the concession stand and saying, "Look, I'm not trying to pick you up or anything like that, but don't I know you?" Right? Yeah. Turned out it was Jonathan Villanueva, who is also a rogue. And they had done a reading together years ago. Yeah. We did The Homecoming, right, by Pinter. And they, she recognized him. And I said, "What a great story." And then, of course, he remembered that. And they said, "Yeah, you're involved with Dave McGrath somehow, right?" And I just love that story. And I love the fact that these rogues run into each other every so often, and they have that connection.
It's like, hey, you're these guys.
Yeah. And you were the what do you call it? The architect of the wayward band of rogues.
Yeah.
And we made those connections.
He's Leonardo da Vinci.
Second coming.
Yeah, it's more like the electrician,
Oh, okay. Thomas Edison.
Thomas Edison.
We're getting closer.
So yeah.
So if a light bulb goes off on top of my head.
In long story, I guess to put it in a phrase, the connections are fire.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, but yeah, it's definitely it's been a pleasure, of course, doing projects with you, and I'm looking forward to more projects with you, and of course,
future back in the
future rogues and make other connections.
Yeah, no, I'm hoping to jump back on that rowboat.
Get on the rowboat.
Exactly.
Get back on the rowboat. Yes.
That's good, Aaron. I like that one.
I flew, and now I'm prepared to row again.
Are you gonna swim?
So hey, we'll swim.
We're gonna get them a paddle. I'm rolling out.
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
So I think that will conclude our podcast for tonight, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this interview. I hope you enjoyed our company, Dave. And we enjoyed.
I'm going to come back when these projects are confirmed and the green light's up. I'm going to come back.
Yeah, keep it going.
Absolutely. We'll definitely put things on.
So we're going to say goodnight to you guys. Have a great rest of your week, and hope to see you soon.
And we'll actually be seeing you in the new month of November. And basically, we're going to keep in motion fundraisers. Help with small businesses. So yes, absolutely. Yeah. So we're keeping things. Did you just hit that end button?
No, it's still going.
It's still going.
Okay.
We're still here.
So we're We're going to keep everything lively, and you know, any details, just follow on Taste Tours. You can contact me, yes, or you can contact me or Chris on Facebook as well, because it is live. So you know, if you have any questions, you want to be speaking, you want to speak about passion, this is where to be. So you know, if you want to speak up, you want to, you know, show that you have a passion, you have something you want to strive for. Don't be afraid to hit that button and message one of us, and we'll get right to you. ASASP.
You got
super
it.
possible. Yes.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
All right. Take it easy.